My name is Ben Lawson. I'm the Public Information Manager for the City of Lubbock. And this morning we're going to talk about our winter weather preparedness. We know that communication is the key, or at least one of the keys to being prepared for winter weather. So we want to meet with you today to talk about the steps that we've taken to make sure that our community is prepared for winter weather. We have several members of our staff here this morning. They're going to talk about how each of the departments have really taken a proactive approach to getting prepared for the winter. So first of all, I'm going to start out with Mr. Jay Parchman. He's the director of our Emergency Management Office.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today as we launch another in our series of initiatives to ensure that we are all well prepared to respond and recover from the challenges winter weather can bring. Historically, in West Texas and the Lubbock area, our winter weather threats are generally ice storms, snowstorms, blizzards, fire weather, power outages, and water main issues. Each of these threats pose unique and challenging for us and our citizens. We're constantly striving to work with our emergency management partners to ensure we communicate and coordinate effectively and that we provide you with the best service we can as we face these inevitable challenges. A recent example of this would be that 2 weeks ago today, we joined with other jurisdictions throughout the region for a winter weather preparedness event, conference. That event was attended by the National Weather Service, Texas DPS, Texas Forest Service, Texas Parks and Wildlife, City of Lubbock, Lubbock County, Texas Tech, Department of State Health Services, Lubbock Area Hospitals, Lubbock Independent School District, Region 17 Service Center, TxDOT, Texas Agricultural Extension Service, American Red Cross, the Salvation Army, the Regional 211 Office, as well as many other municipalities and counties within our region. Winter weather-related events are usually the type that we can get some forewarning of. They're usually predictable, and Justin Weaver and his team at the National Weather Service do an outstanding job of forecasting winter weather within their current capabilities. They usually are able to provide us all with some advance notice. When a weather-related threat becomes known, we assess the threat and try to define the expectations and the impacts that threat will have on the citizens of Lubbock and their property. Through this assessment, we make a determination on whether or not we will activate the Emergency Operations Center, and if so, at what level we will activate. Should an assessment indicate a serious threat to your safety, the probable expectations and impacts will be communicated to you by City of Lubbock leaders. We want to assure you that we will do our best to not alarm or alert you unnecessarily. However, should circumstances dictate that an alert is necessary, we ask that you please heed the advice and the warnings that you will hear from your city officials. There are a number of things that we can do as individuals in advance of these threats. We've posted links to mylubbock.us to assist you in preparing for winter weather. We've included a variety of tips to help you prepare and to identify for you the various mediums we will use to communicate with you throughout a winter weather event. The diligent work done by those participating in emergency operations and our partners on the county, state, and federal level is sometimes seen by the public during a major storm event. But that work is certainly not restricted to the time period immediately surrounding the event. It is work that is done year-round, and we're always striving to build upon past experience in order to provide the best possible response in order to keep the community we love safe in the face of hazardous weather conditions. That is our mission, and we take that responsibility very seriously. At this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Wood Franklin, our Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Jay. Wood Franklin, Director of Public Works. Last year, Lubbock was hit with a major winter storm. The City of Lubbock and our Lubbock Emergency Management Team responded by activating our Emergency Operations Center. In part of our Emergency Operations Center, multiple agencies were involved. City of Lubbock Police Department, we had City of Lubbock Fire Department, City of Lubbock Public Works, LP&L, EMS, the National Weather Service, county and state agencies were all involved, all in the same room, all communicating at the same time. We were all assembled in one location, which made it very easy for us to share information and also share assets and resources. During those events, we set priorities, and during that last event, several of our priorities first set were the safety of our first responders first and foremost. After that, to provide essential public safety services. Following that, we provide updates to the public and also to support utilities. Those were some of the priorities that we set during that event. Specifically related to the Public Works Department, I want to talk about how we're prepared and things that we've taken since that event last year. Since then, City Council has awarded and approved the purchase of new snow equipment. We've got a lot of that laid out here in front of you, some of our loaders and our snow plows. We had 3 snow plows last year. One of those have been replaced. This is one of our newer ones right here. And Council has approved the purchase of 2 new snow plows, which have been acquired, have been purchased, and we're waiting on delivery. We refer to these as snow plows. You can kind of see what they are. They're essentially yard trucks that carry salt and sand capabilities in the back so that they can spread salt and sand while they're running around and clearing snow. And they do have a detachable snow plow out front. So they are multi-purpose vehicles. We do use these throughout the year, even in the winter time, to deliver materials to our construction site. City of Lubbock now has the following equipment available for winter storm events. I'd like to go through that and kind of explain these. We have, as I mentioned, 3 salt and sand spreaders that are laid out here in front of you with 2 pending delivery for a total of 5 vehicles. We have 11 12-yard trucks that are used to distribute salt and sand. Those are the ones set over here in front of you. We also have an additional 3 6-yard salt and sand spreaders, 8 front loaders, 7 motor graders, 12 backhoe, and from various departments that are available for us, and we also have 2 small Bobcat loaders available during any winter weather or any emergency operations that we can use. In addition to the added increase in fleet, we've begun preparations to prepare and stockpile salt and sand. Salt is used ahead of the freezing weather conditions as an anti-freezing strategy to keep salt or ice from freezing on the road. Usually we prepare this, we lay this down ahead of winter events, but we also lay it down during the winter events. We also have sand that we utilize for traction control. Most of that is dispersed at major intersections and where thoroughfares connect to other thoroughfares. We currently acquired the salt and sand for our average winter storm expectations. It's stored in these Quonset huts behind you that we can go back and show you and kind of see what we've got back there. Should the City of Lubbock have a major storm event that replenishes our supply, we do have contracts already in place so that we can acquire additional materials as needed. Along with the additional vehicles, preparation of staff and equipment, and the stockpile of materials, the City of Lubbock has adopted a new snow and ice removal policy. This policy was adopted on October 1st of 2016 and not only gives our snow removal crews guidelines and procedures, but will also inform the general public as far as the procedures and what to expect from our operations. We'll continue to strive to maintain safe conditions for drivers who are observing the winter driving conditions while providing the necessary assistance to first responders and utility crews during any future events or expected events. The first priority of our Public Works departments is outlined in this policy and is to provide access to hospitals, mobility for first responders, and utilities. And the control of the ice and removal of snow is necessary to provide for the safe movement of emergency vehicles and to facilitate the safe transportation and mobility of the general public. Included in the adopted snow and ice removal policy is a map. We've got a copy of it over here. This map indicates our first snow routes that we're going to work for snow removal. Lubbock Fire and Rescue, Lubbock Police Department, Emergency Medical Services, and City Bus. These streets were chosen basically on their location and their proximity to hospitals, EMS stations, fire stations, and major parking lots. Our goal is for that, so City Bus could maybe move people around and mobilize people and get people to workers to hospitals if needed. It will be our goal to have this emergency route passable within the first 24 hours after a major snow event. It's important to the public to be aware of these routes, so not only that they're used for emergency responders and emergency purposes, that the public can use these routes so they know to go from, if Indiana's on that route and they're leave their neighborhood, go to Indiana and not Quaker Avenue, so to speak. With that, I'd like to hand it over to David McCullough with LP&L.
Good morning, everyone. We appreciate this opportunity to be here this morning. I'm David McCullough with LP&L. I'm the director. And so the individuals standing here today represent Lubbock's emergency response team when hazardous weather hits the city. And I think team is the right term when describing this group. Every area bears an important responsibility in dealing with major weather events, and it requires the collective and cooperative efforts of all of us. We experienced a very high level of cooperation and mutual support during the last event last winter, and we are fully committed to continuing that in future events that may occur. We have great weather in Lubbock most of the time, year-round, but it is a fact that we're not spared in any season from events, as Jay was talking about, that can cause major damage to the electric system. So it's really a year-round effort for us to be prepared for these type of events. I wanted to just take a few moments to tell you what all we do to be prepared and resources we deploy to get the lights back on when we do have major events. So what do we do before the storm? There's major effort underway before a storm occurs. First of all, we consider every employee at LPL to be an essential employee, and we expect folks to show up to work. During the winter event last year, we had folks manning the service center, and of course all of our line crews were deployed as well. Our line crews are on the front lines, but we have many others that work as support staff. So we constantly train our employees on what their roles are during these events. Resources such as tools, trucks, communications equipment. We check those out, make sure the trucks are fueled and chainsaws properly working and all of that stuff. We make sure we've got materials on hand to and make sure that we've got reserves for all of that. We have deployment plans for our crews that are constantly updated as an event takes place. Communications protocols are in place so that we know how to get in touch with people, who's available, and how to get in touch with them. We maintain relationship with third parties for line crews, bucket trucks, tree trimmers, and with vendors for poles and other line materials that we may need if we get into a major storm event that causes significant damage to our power system. So, in a major event, we need to be able to access large amounts of equipment and material quickly, so that we either have to have it in our warehouse or through readily accessible through vendors. So our call center, which is Andy's role, has been trained to take outage alerts from the public and enter it into the work order system. So in a major event where we have a lot of calls coming in, we use the customer service call center folks to handle a lot of the calls that come in. We have mutual aid agreements in place with Texas Public Power Association, American Public Power Association, and FEMA. That will allow us to call on crews from other utilities that are not having problems at the time. So the type of storm that would cause us to trigger these calls would be a tornado or major ice storm that could take out a large part of our system. And so we are able to call on other municipalities to request crews and equipment to supplement our available resources. We likewise, when the shoe is on the other foot, we help other utilities and send crews to help them out when they have events, and we're in good shape. So it's kind of a mutual aid thing that we do. So during a storm, what do we do? Well, when we get notice of a large storm that may hit our system, and Jay is really good about getting us information ahead of time, we prepare. We deploy crews throughout the city before the storm in order to ensure that we have full coverage. Once the storm hits, the first task is to quickly assess the damage and create a prioritized schedule for restoration. So what are our priorities? First priority is things that may be hazardous conditions that could cause fires or human injury. So lines on the ground, arcing lines, poles that are laying in the roadway, we have to address those as quickly as we can. Second priority is to restore the vital emergency response areas, hospitals, city facilities, water treatment plant, police and fire stations, all the city services. Those are our second priority. And once we've got all of those areas back restored, then we can start working on other areas of town. And what we try to do is prioritize getting the largest customers back on as quickly as we can. We may have a substation lockout that has caused thousands of customers to be out, and so we focus on those areas first where we can get as many customers back on as quickly as we can. We have the ability to, through switching operations, to isolate damaged sections of our system and restore power through other feeders that are not affected. So once we've got the major power outages corrected and people back in service, then we start focusing on the smaller outages. We try to prioritize those so that we can get as many people back on as quickly as we can. Our crews work as a group around the clock. We do try to schedule our crews so that fatigue doesn't cause safety issues or problems. So we do schedule our crews so that nobody works more than 16 hours. And then we have other crews that can come in to relieve them during a major event that's a multi-day event. So after the storm, we may have made some temporary repairs, so there's a lot of follow-up work that has to be done after a storm to go back and make permanent repairs. We'll continue with that until permanent repairs have made throughout the system. We'll talk a little bit about communications now. This is an important area. We're committed to using technology and means of communications in order to offer the best service we can to our customers. We have a computer system at our operations center called SCADA that monitors substation and transmission equipment status in real time so that we can see what breakers have opened, what substations are out, and it allows us remote control of the breakers so that we can operate those breakers to do switching operations. We have a new outage management system that will go live in a few weeks that will really speed up the restoration process, and so we're anxious to get that active. During a large storm, we may have many thousands of customers out immediately after a storm, and SCADA gives us the ability to see which of those areas are out so that we know where to direct the crews to restore service to the affected areas. Customers call in, but during a major event, there's not enough telephone lines or operators to answer all the calls that come in. So the best way to communicate with LP&L in a major event is to send a text message or an email to lightsout@lpnl.com. You should include in your message your name, address, and brief nature of your outage. Please don't use 911 for these kind of calls unless you have a health emergency or a safety emergency. Use the other communications means. You can visit our website or the city's new winter preparedness page to access our outage center with your smartphone in order to report an outage. You can also call 775-2509 just with the understanding that during a major event the phone lines are going to be tied up. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Matt is real good about keeping information up there and providing updates, and also responding to comments that come in from consumers on those resources. We also have an interactive outage map, which I think most of you are familiar with, that you can go to on lpnl.com to track the status of restoration. And we're in constant communications with media outlets. Matt does a good job of keeping you informed as to what's going on. So all of our employees know that an essential responsibility of LP&L as the City of Lubbock's municipal electric provider is to maintain reliable service. So we consider ourselves as first responders because we know that the efforts of individuals standing here today and their teams are dependent on electrical service. We also know that our customer safety and overall well-being is dependent on electrical service. And so we constantly train and try to be prepared for these events. And regardless of the severity, we do not rest until everyone's power is back on. I will flip it back to Ben.
Well, as everybody's touched on this morning, we all want to emphasize communication is key, and we want everybody in our community to know that we're working, and our goal is to keep you informed of events that are going on, especially when it involves your safety. So it's been touched on, but something we launched today live on our website is a new resource. It's our Winter Weather Resource Guide. So this is really a place that you can go to one location and find a lot of information, and it's quick and easy. It's right there on our homepage with a quick button that says Winter Weather Resources. On that site, on mylubbock.us, you're going to find links for winter weather preparedness, a lot of information of actions that you can take to help yourself get prepared for winter weather. We also have the snow removal policy right there for you. We have links to road conditions for Texas and surrounding states, so if you're heading out, you can go there and check that information. We have the links to LP&L's outage center along with South Plain Electric Co-op's outage center, because we know some of our citizens do have SPEC. We have contact numbers for multiple city departments, so you can click on there, get those numbers quick and easy. And again, the important part is we wanted to put all this in one easy location. So if you remember mylubbock.us and click on Winter Weather Resources, you're going to have all that in one place. And as we communicate with our citizens, we want to let you know what sources we're going to be using. Of course, our website, mylubbock.us, can't say that enough. The City News Channel, which is on Suddenlink Channel 2 and AT&T Uverse Channel 99. You can also watch the City News Channel live streaming on the website anytime. We'll be using, of course, our social media sites. We're on Facebook, which is Lubbock, Texas, Your City Government, and on Twitter, which is @City of Lubbock. And right now I am working to create a new agency membership on the Nextdoor app so the city can help and post information to those folks who are using Nextdoor. We also wanted to let you know that if you have questions and you want to talk to us, we're there for you. You can always post or direct message us on social media. And if you want to talk to somebody on the phone, please contact our 311. They're really great in answering questions and helping you get to the person that may need to answer your question or address the situation you may be having. But of course, in an emergency, please call 911. That is your main source in an emergency, 911. And again, as we utilize all of our tools to keep you informed during inclement weather, we want to let you know that we will work to have these pre-events. If there's an event that's being forecast way early, we want to come out there and we'll let you know how we're working to be prepared. And during a weather event, we're going to continue to keep you prepared. I'll be sending news releases to the media. We'll be posting that information for the public using our City News Channel. We're trying to use every avenue so that people have access to that information on the device or the outlet that they like to see. And of course, we want to encourage everyone to be vigilant when it comes to preparedness. We encourage you to check out the Winter Weather Resource Guide so you can see some of those links and see how you can prepare yourself when it comes to winter weather. Of course, we encourage you to follow us on social media because we do distribute a lot of information on there. So again, the City of Lubbock Facebook and Twitter sites. And of course, if you start to hear about winter weather conditions, be vigilant in monitoring those. You can utilize the National Weather Service. Our local media outlets all do a great job of keeping you informed of winter weather, and also TxDOT for roads conditions. Again, our goal is to make sure that the community is informed and to know what you can expect when winter weather starts to hit our city. I want to thank you all for coming out this morning. We really appreciate it. I know it's a bit chilly, so we appreciate you coming out in the weather. Our staff is going to be here to answer any one-on-one questions, and of course we have a lot of equipment here for you to check out. You can get up close to that, and our sand and salt piles there. So again, thank you very much, and we appreciate you.